The world renamed him. They broke him, and he learned the language of ruins. He walked through nights that bit like wolves and taught them to heal. When the devil came with velvet chains, he didn't scream. He stood. He laid his grief like iron on an anvil and forged himself a spine that would not sign away his soul. He didn't scare the dark. He organized it. And when temptation asked for a whisper, he answered with silence, so complete the devil bowed to hear it.
I don't speak to the room anymore. I speak into the quiet behind my ribs, the place where the winter lives, where the lamps stay lit after everyone leaves. That's where I keep the truth. It doesn't shout, it doesn't perform. It breathes, it remembers. I remember the first night the walls learned my name. The stars were not stars. They were nails holding up a ceiling I could not reach. The city slept with its back turned, and the clock kept chewing hours like dry bread. I sat on the floor and counted every regret I owned, like coins that couldn't buy me even a clean breath. I kept thinking if I stayed very still, the past would miss me. It didn't. It has a perfect memory. It knows my footsteps by heart. I was soft once. I'm not ashamed to say that. I was the kind of person who watered dead plants because I believed in resurrection. I held doors that slammed on my fingers and called it grace. I swallowed thunder and apologized for the noise. They smiled with knives under their tongues and told me I was good. I wore that word like a collar until it burned. There were long corridors of silence back then. I was a museum of almosts. My laughter sounded like a borrowed coat. I tucked the night under my pillow, and the night tucked me back with hands that smelled like smoke. I asked the mirror to tell me who I was, and the mirror said nothing, just offered a mouth that trembled like an unfinished bridge. I kept failing to cross myself, somewhere between the promises and the funerals of those promises. I learned the smallest prayer in the world. Not help, not save me, but simply stay. I said it to the light when it came. I said it to my bones when they shook. I said it to the part of me that still believed in dawns. Often it didn't. Sometimes it did. The mornings that listened taught me a kind of mercy that didn't excuse anything but kept me alive. Survival is not noble. It is stubborn. It is rain that refuses to ask the sky for permission. They say I changed. They put it like a verdict, as if the river betrayed the mountain by choosing the sea, as if fire owes the match an apology. I changed because the old house flooded and wouldn't let me breathe. I changed because the wolves found my doorstep and started singing. I changed because the dark made a room for me when the light ran out of chairs. All the while, I could feel something pacing the length of my chest, counting my ribs like steps on a staircase. I mistook it for a curse at first, a shadow with good aim. But it wasn't a curse. It was the original animal, patient as winter, ancient as hunger. It had my eyes, only deeper. It had my voice, only lower, like a bell from a drowned cathedral. It didn't speak. It waited. And when I finally asked it what it wanted, it said, "Tell the truth. The truth is not gentle. The truth doesn't hug. The truth takes off the costume and leaves the stage barefoot. It says, this is the wound, and this is the weather, and this is how they taught you to call drowning swimming." I held that truth in both hands until my palms bled into a new map. I followed it. I stopped begging ghosts to love me. I stopped arguing with locks that were never mine to open. I gave the dead back their names and stopped wearing them like armor. I untied the shame from around my throat, strand by strand, each knot a memory that thought it was a law. I set them down like stones and felt the floor rise to meet me. I was taller in the honesty. I could see over things. They say I grew cold. That's fine. Ice remembers the shape of the water it used to be. I am not unfeeling. I am unfooled. Compassion without boundaries is just a thirst trap for devils. I learned to drink from my own hands. I learned that forgiveness without change is just permission. I don't give permission anymore. There were nights I thought ended me. I should honor them with their real names. The night of the last apology. The night of the door that never opened. The night I set a place at the table for someone who never learned to eat without biting. The night my heartbeat turned into a march I could follow out of the ruins. The night I met myself at the edge and didn't jump. The night I realized the edge was also a beginning, and the air was fluent in my language. And yes, there was the devil. I was alone in the darkness, the kind of darkness that swallows sound, that smothers air, that claws at your chest with the cold hands of nothingness. Alone, not a soul to call, not a hand to hold, not a whisper of comfort, just me. Just the silence, just the weight of every broken piece inside me. But I didn't die there. No, I didn't crumble beneath the crushing weight. I didn't shatter into the void. I became something else, something unyielding, something forged in that abyss. 'Cause that's what the darkness does when you're willing to fight. It takes you apart, piece by piece, until all that remains is the raw, unfiltered essence of who you are. And that's what I found. Beneath the fear, beneath the doubt, beneath the pain, I found the truth of me. The darkness thought it could break me, thought it could bury me in despair, but it only taught me how to see without light. My own breath became my guide. My heartbeat became my compass. Each ragged inhalation a rebellion. Each beat of my heart a declaration. I am still here. I clawed my way through that black void, tearing through the chains that sought to hold me, that whispered that I would never escape. I felt the cold seep into my bones.